Yeah, so thank you for moving me up on the schedule. I have to leave a little early, but some of my comrades are still going to be here after I speak. They're sort of situated in that corner. The person currently holding the Palestine flag is also a comrade. You can approach them if you're interested in joining Utrecht in solidarity with Palestine. But yeah, without further ado. So last year in May 2021, on May 18, Palestinians from the river to the sea in historic Palestine went on a general strike. This marked the instigation or the birth of the Unity Intifada. They protested apartheid. They protested the apartheid and settler colonial regime that's present in Israel from the river to the sea. And this is not just something that Palestinians did once. It's actually a historical tradition. And it started in 1936 when Palestinians, even before the founding of the State of Israel, recognized what was about to happen and protested British colonialism and the incipient creation of a settler colonial state in Palestine. And then again in 1987, marking the start of the first Intifada, or the Intifada of Rocks, the Palestinians went on a general strike again. And I think that all of us gathered here as socialists and anarchists should recognize that however much we struggle for a general strike, here general strikes all over the world have been taking place, especially in the global south and especially by oppressed and colonized peoples, the Palestinians perhaps foremost among them. This also marks, I think, the fact that we agitate for general strikes around the world and that socialists around the world also call themselves internationalists marks the fact that this movement isn't suppressed or contained by borders, and that international solidarity is possible and that it is key. And in fact, general strikes took place in Palestine, and I say words about international solidarity because they were met with reciprocation. They were met with other strikes and other boycotts by workers around the world. On May 14th in 2021, during just before the Palestinian general strike on May 18th in Livorno, Italy, the syndicalist union, or the basic syndicalist union, basically boycotted an Israeli ship that was coming into the port. They refused to unload, and sadly their picket line was broken by their bosses. But regardless, the show of solidarity was material. It wasn't just a protest or a picket line. It was the organized refusal of labor, namely refusing to unload an Israeli ship from the largest Israeli shipping company and one of the 10 largest shipping companies in the world, ZIM. It wasn't just in Italy that strikes took place. In South Africa, unsurprisingly, in South Africa and Durban, workers also showed solidarity. The South African Transport and Allied Workers Union showed their solidarity, and I'll read part of their statement because it's quite beautiful. And as you know, Israel is an apartheid state. One is still in existence. South Africa, politically and civilly speaking, used to be an apartheid state. Economically, arguably still is an apartheid state. The Satawu workers said the following: "It has been brought to our attention that a shipment from apartheid Israel will be landing on South African shores, Durban port. As a school of class struggle located in the transport industry, Satawu calls upon its members to stage rolling boycotts against these shipping companies and take part in lunchtime pickets," bon appetit, all of you, "in lunchtime pickets, and to show solidarity for the subjugated. This will not be the first time the union advances countervailing action against proponents of misery and bourgeois grim reaper states. In 2009, Satawu members refused to offload a shipment coming from the Israeli state. Because history tends to repeat itself, Satawu will always support any form of struggle aimed at liberating the working class from the shackles of colonialism, cloaked as the capitalist mode of production. Finally, the liberation of the Palestinian people is equally the liberation of the African nation. Let it be clear that this came from the global south and not the global north." On May 18th, workers in Italy again in Ravenna staged an unloading boycott, or refused to unload an Israeli ship. And this strike was actually successful, showing you that, in fact, picket lines can't be broken if we don't want them to be broken. And I'll bring this into the present of 2022 as well. Amnesty International, whatever you think of them, released a long report on the fact that Israel conducts a colonial, they didn't use the word colonial, that Israel is committing the crime of apartheid. And recently the Dutch government was asked for their opinion on this report because of international furor, outrage, but also support shown for this report. Our government was logically asked to give its own opinion by parliamentary questions, I believe filed by Bayern, credit where credit is due. They've just responded and they said that it's up to a judge to decide whether this legally specific form of oppression is actually taking place in Israel. First of all, this is legally incorrect because in international law, states are the main actors, not judges. However, and this is the part that I would like to add and tell you about today, we need neither judges, nor states, nor NGOs to stand up against apartheid. Capitalism was and is built on the backs of generation upon generation of workers, peasant and slave peoples and indigenous peoples. It is built with the labor or the land that it stole day in, day out from the hands of generation upon generations. We, the children and children's children of generations of the exploited, have to realize that neither judges, nor states, nor NGOs will help us topple an apartheid state and topple global colonialism and apartheid. The organized refusal of our labor is the weapon that we wield against apartheid and capitalism. We live in the heart, we also must recognize that we live in the heart of the first world. Our wealth may seem like it is as if it is produced by magic, but every digit on the ledger is written in sweat and blood. We find ourselves in a park, but we live just upstream from one of the largest ports of Europe, Rotterdam. The boats that carry the resources extracted from the third world are right there. The European Union fund, we also have to recognize that we live in a city with an extremely prestigious university. The European Union funded research projects that drive the research, development and innovation necessary to grease the gears of war and surveillance take place right here. These programs are paid for by students and administered by academic workers. But neither judges, nor states, nor NGOs, nor the General Labor Union will organize anti-colonial and anti-imperial solidarity action right here. If our picket lines and strikes only serve to improve the conditions of labor in the heart of the first world, it only serves capitalists in their mission to divide the international working class. We, the children and children's children of generations of exploited, have to realize that neither judges, nor states, nor NGOs, nor general labor unions will help us topple colonialism, and be anti-colonial ever, or be anti-imperial ever, or be truly anti-capitalist ever. The autonomously organized refusal of our labor is the weapon that we wield against apartheid, against colonialism, against imperialism, and against capitalism. I wrote this speech so that I could recruit you guys at the end, but it feels a bit off. Utrecht in solidarity with Palestine is an anti-capitalist, anti-imperial, and anti-colonial group. We work horizontally, and we were born as a student group, and we target Utrecht University's complicity with the Israeli apartheid state. But we aim to reach much further than only that one institution. We see boycott, divestment, and sanctions as a form of international and local class struggle. So please approach us as comrades and help us do our work. And I would like very loud, from the river to the sea,
Palestine will be free!
From the river to the sea,
Palestine will be free!